There is a new movie coming out, and it is filled with a lot of famous names. Amsterdam. The premise being three friends, a doctor, a nurse, and a lawyer, become the prime suspects in a murder in the 1930s. Okay, so I'm going to form my opinion straight off the bat and say that this is indeed an interesting premise. Three different people with entirely different professions are subjects of a murder that maybe one of them could have committed or none. I don't know enough to make that determination. Now, not to mention that we have a few great talented names attached to this project. Christian Bale, Margaret Robbie, John David Washington from Tenet, Chris Rock, Zoe Saldana, Robert De Niro, a bunch of famous stars. Okay, so Amsterdam had held some early screenings, which generated some early reactions online that I'm going to read right here in the segment of the Cinema Courtroom show. Most of them, it appears to be not very positive. George Elwood from the news outlet Playlist reviews Amsterdam as a big ol' mess. Unfortunately, David O. Russell's Amsterdam is a big ol' mess. Tone and editing are his most jarring since Huckabee's. Ouch. When it has something to say in the third act, it's way too late. Robbie and Bale are the best perfs. As for Taylor Swift, at least she'll get a meme out of it. Oh boy, that sounds juicy. And then we have Zoe Ross Bryan from We Live Entertainment saying that Amsterdam is a massive misfire. The central mystery is needlessly convoluted. Zoe Rose Bryan also mentions that the pacing is poor, inconsistent acting, and it's only intermittently amusing. If that, Christian Bale and Margaret Robbie make it out unscathed. Robert De Niro and Anna Taylor-Joy deliver too. Based on George Elwood's and Zoe Ross's reaction, there seems to be a consensus that Robert De Niro delivers in his performances and is the absolute highlight of the movie. Now, obviously, I cannot make a judgment because Amsterdam hasn't been released to the general public yet. But what I can gather, based on those early reactions for the most part about Amsterdam, is that it's a colossal failure, even though it does include a very positive reaction, if you'd ask me. If you add it all up, the negative reviews seem to outweigh the positive, Like, I was reading those negative reactions for the Amsterdam movie, and I thought to myself, surely there must have been at least one positive reaction. And that came from Nikki Fowler. Amsterdam is a rich plus quirky, expertly woven thrill ride. It's cinematically beautiful. Plus, an intricate tale on love, life plus loyalty. Christian Bale, Margaret Robbie, John David Washington, Anya Taylor-Joy, Taylor Swift, Zoe Saldana, Rami Malek, plus Robert De Niro shine. Hashtag Amsterdam movie. And there is another positive review from Brandon Norwood, who tweeted, Amsterdam is a funny crime mystery. A bit too long, but Christian Bale, John David Washington, and Margaret Robbie elevate the material. A real crowd pleaser best seen with a full audience. Now, there is another reaction that is somewhat mixed. Jeffson tweeted, Hashtag Amsterdam has fun scenes, but it's deeply confused about the kind of film it wants to be. The tone alternates between Wes Anderson and serious spycraft, and great performances have difficulty consolidating it. How do you land a performance in a film that can't decide its genre? And I'm going to stop right there, but a review like that tips the scales of the Amsterdam movie to judgment. It turns out that Amsterdam hasn't been having a good time with the critics. I'll tell you what. I want to watch this movie and tell you my thoughts on it on the Cinema Courtroom show. What I am expecting from Amsterdam is rather simple. While it does appear to be capitalizing on a bunch of famous names, which could potentially lead to disaster or good chemistry altogether. I just want it to be well written and engaging. This movie is set in an interesting piece of US history based on what I've seen from the trailers, and I'm not gonna lie to you. This just has me interested in Amsterdam even more. Now, the question is, what do you think about the mixed reception of Amsterdam? Do you think it is still worth the watch? Whatever you think about the early reactions of Amsterdam, let me know in the comment sections or on our Twitter inbox at Cinema Courtroom.